Hello everybody, welcome to Monday Morning Must Knows. My name is Merlin and here are 3 important things to pay attention to for the upcoming trading week. Now let's revisit just a little bit about what happened last week. Of course, we talked about Elon Musk and this whole Twitter soap opera. Boy, nailed that one, that's continuing. But the real highlight for last week was Jerome Powell. We called out that meeting with the IMF where he said, you know what, he could say something that riles the market. And lo and behold, he said, we're thinking of front loading, and front loading is going to be good for rates for our markets. And Thursday, we saw just a huge sell-off in the equity markets, and we'll see how that persists. Now, front loading, well, let me see. Front loading means that you do everything up front. If you're a year late to raising rates when you saw inflation, is that front loading or are you actually back loading because you're so late to the party? Anyway, let's not vent our frustrations. Let's talk about this week and some of the important stuff that's happening as we see it. Let's start things off with the earnings calendar. Yes, I know there's so much going on this week. I don't have time to put them all in here. There's 869 companies reporting, and I'll just run through the major names. Activision, Coca-Cola, Vale, Cadence Design Systems on Monday. Tuesday, you've got Microsoft, General Electric, Visa, Google, General Motors, Archer Daniels Midland, and United Postal Service. Wednesday brings you Facebook, Boeing, Ford, Qualcomm, PayPal, Amgen. Thursday, Apple, Amazon, Intel, Twitter, Roku, MasterCard, Caterpillar. There's even McDonald's on here and I couldn't fit it, and we're not done. I still got Friday to go. Lordy, bring on AbbVie, ExxonMobil, Chevron, Phillips 66, Honeywell, and Colgate-Palmolive. It is an action-packed earnings week. And what's interesting is over the last 2 weeks we've had earnings announcements. They've all been really good. That bar has now been lifted higher and higher and higher. So as that bar gets raised, it's going to be more challenging for people to leap over that bar. And as we saw some shockwaves to the downside last week in our markets, keep your eye on earnings announcements because that may give you an indication as to where our markets may be going over the next couple of months. Now, the last piece. We hear about inflation. Of course, that's the whole front load piece that Jerome Powell and the Fed's talking about. Got to protect the markets and make sure inflation doesn't get out of hand. You're too late, pal. Let me look at the announcement coming out on Thursday. We start things off with advanced GDP. Of course, we know that GDP is critical to economic growth. We want to see America growing. Well, on the hard red edge of that chart, you can see that number right there is 6.9. That was the previous reading on GDP, and that actually was higher than expectations. However, there's a lot of talk about GDP slowing. Now, I'm no macroeconomist, so I don't really know which way it's going to go. But what I do know is that at that announcement time, which is going to be Thursday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, there will probably be a lot of volatility in the markets. Now, the good news for most is that the markets, for all intents and purposes, are closed, right? Equity markets don't open until 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. However, you do have access to these markets by trading the futures, by trading crypto, and even currencies. Now, the final piece leads to inflation. That's right. Inflation is the one that everyone's worried about. And most people, the retail investors, look at consumer price index and producer price index, but not the Fed. The Fed says, no, we don't really look at those. We look at Core PCE Price Index. As you can see here, it's been increasing, albeit the last month's reading was down substantially over the previous. It was 0.5, dropped to 0.4. Well, on Friday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, that Core PCE Price Index number comes out. And at this point, I think a lot of people are expecting the issues that have been going on in Russia, the whole Ukraine situation, that supply chain disruption of commodities, natural resources, could potentially cause a spike in the inflation numbers. So right now, I believe the talk track from Jerome Powell is being a little bit more aggressive, maybe setting the tone for a higher inflation reading on that Friday announcement for Core PCE Price Index. Now, my friends, it's your Monday Morning Must Knows. We'll see you next week.